So first we'll focus on the first layer of these craters. Okay, so I'm actually going to delete all of this because we'll make more changes to this and then we'll duplicate it again. It won't take too long. Delete both of them. So first the moon, we'll just leave it at this scale. That's fine, you know, it doesn't really matter. I will push the frequency up to 100 though, so it's super smooth. The amount of geometry doesn't matter. It's just when we change it to VDBs, that's what's important. Now let's drop a box because we don't need this whole sphere. Depends, you know, for your project, you might want to, your camera might be going around the whole thing, but I'm just going to do 1/4 of it. So if we make the box bigger, and then move the center over down 1, and then +1. There we go. I think we're upside down. Oh, excuse me. -1. There we go. Let me see. Okay, that's what I wanted. So the bottom kind of corner of this. I'm going to run a boolean on this here, and so that we get the kind of opposite effect, we do a intersect. Okay, so that's what this is where we're going to put our craters. I'm going to alt click and drag on this and change this to treat this as a surface, and then it won't give me that it doesn't see it as a volume, ironically. It doesn't see it as a, you know, a full thing. It's just a surface, so we just get that kind of skin on the outside. Let's get rid of that template, plug that in there. No, don't plug that in there, that goes in here. We use this to scatter our points. So let's take a look at that. So we'll drop a scatter and a copy to points. Yeah, like that. This VDB will go there. Okay, so obviously right now they are too big. So we'll drop the scale down 0.05. We'll play around with the scale later. And the center, leave them in the center, and let's drop this down. No, so I want them obviously flat, but level with the, well, we need to change that anyway. I think it's this one I need to bring down. We'll do 0.12. So this is what we're going to be using to cut into the surface of the sphere. But we need to orientate these, so we just need normals on there, and it will be done automatically here. Transform using implicit target point normals, which we've just done. If no point norm, okay, so we're creating vector normals here. Sorry, vertex normals, and it's, you know, creating point normals from that. So what's next? We want to randomize. Well, first in the scatter, before I forget, I'm going to turn off this relax iteration so they're just completely random there. And then an attribute randomize for the P scale. Where I can find it, there you are. Okay, let's type P scale in here, and let's do it here as well because we will use others later. P scale. So already that's being carried through automatically and affecting the size of the spheres that we're carrying on. It's almost like a multiplier for the scale, right? And the way I want to do this is to use a ramp because I want more bigger pieces than smaller pieces. So the easiest way to do that is with our custom ramp. And then we can, you know, think about it. These are the small pieces, these are the big, and just say I want more small pieces, kind of like that. Okay. So I'm going to delete this one. So we have lots of small pieces like that. And then this one, let's raise it a bit. Oh, I don't want to make another one. want this, move it back, so 0.8, and the value, I'm going to push it up to 4, I think. Yeah, so this first step is, like I said, the big craters, and then later we'll come in and pepper this with lots of really small craters as well. So that's great. And let me move all of this down out the way. Like that. Yeah. So these are all, you know, a bit uniform at the moment. So let's add some noise to them. We use a point VOP. Oh, yeah. And one thing we need, one thing I would like is to use the P scale. So I want to know for each object, how big are you? So, and P scale will tell me that, but we don't have it here. So within the copy to points, here you've got all the attributes and, you know, different settings done to them. So they're multiplying alpha, adding velocity on top, and we're copying over these attributes. Well, we're copying over all attributes. That's what this asterisk means, except for velocity, except for alpha, except for normal. So I do want to copy the P scale. So I remove it from there, remove that extra comma, and now when we middle mouse click, we'll have that P scale available to us to use, which is what I want in the point VOP. So let's add some noise to this. And we'll use a add. So we'll add the noise to its current position. So we take our current position and use that to drive a noise, and then add the results of that to our current position, and then set our current position to that, and we get some madness. What I also want to do is take our P scale, so bind in the P scale. P scale, well, I won't add it, multiply it in yet. Let's try and dial in these noise parameters first, and push the frequency up much higher, and then drop the amplitude down, not to minus, but way down, close there, so 0.02. Let me just turn these lights around a bit as well. This one. Again, this is just for working now, so don't worry if you don't have the same values here as me, it doesn't matter. It's not for the final render. Okay, so 0.02, maybe a little bit more roughness. There we go, looks good. So now we take this P scale, and basically I want, you know, you can see the noise isn't even. The bigger pieces have, it looks like less noise than the smaller pieces. So we can use the P scale to control that. So if we plug that in there, multiply it, so that's getting rid of everything now. If we use a fit range to kind of massage the values, if you will, then that should help us out. So now we do something like that. If I push this up, maybe, let me just try, I'll try the values which worked for me previously. It is a case of just kind of playing around in here. You know, what this does is taking in, so P scale, the values that we've got going in, which are, yeah, 0.4 to 1. So that's here, if you take your P scale, 0.4 up to 1 is what we've got. And then it gives you new values, you know, what you want as a result of that. I can see what I've done there. I've put that into the wrong. It should be working. Oh, do you know what? I just noticed earlier that P scale, so 3 float, is setting a vector for some reason. That's because of me here. That should be set to 1. And now there we go. It's because this is set to float. It was looking for a float where I'd created a vector by accident. So there we go. So yeah, the values coming in, 0.4 to 1, and then change them to whatever you like. You know, I can bring it down. So you can see there where I change this, the bigger pieces are changing. And then here, that should be the smaller pieces changing. So yeah, I'm going to set that to 0.9. And then this to 1.7, like that. Try that again. Sorry, it's my keyboard. There we go. 1.7. Perfect. So now it's a bit more even. Jump out of here. And then that's all fine. Now it's just a case of adjusting these values, and the voxel size will probably change it. So we're going to be changing the voxel size across a few different things. So I'm going to create a controller for it. So I'm going to call this, let's call it voxel size. Make it red. And then voxel size control. So it's quite a common thing, especially when you're working on procedural objects or tools, to create a control, right? So instead of having to go in and find the node, where do I change that voxel? We just have one control with the important parameters added in. So we don't have anything in here now. So the way that we do that, we go into this cog and go to edit parameter interface, add a float. Okay, so come here, find float, and click this arrow, give it a parameter name, voxel like that is fine. Doesn't matter what you put here really. Apply and accept. There we got a float value there now. Okay, what we will do is right click, copy parameter, and then paste it into wherever we want that to go. So paste relative references there, not there, and here, paste relative references. Okay, what we can also do maybe is add this value, which is quite important. However, I might want a different one on each of them, so I'll just leave it blank. But you know, typically you'd have different things for, you know, maybe the size of the sphere. You can add a vector into here as well, you know, whatever you want, a color, it's all in here. You know, you can add an integer there, color, as I said, angle, whatever you need, and then you just control all of your setup from one place then. But we'll just stick with that to keep it simple. So I'll set this to 0.01, and then that will be pasted over into this. So let's go 0.005. It doesn't look great still, but it should be fine. Let's leave these at 1 at the default for the moment. Okay, and take a look. Smooth. Okay, that's fine. Let's maybe we could push this a bit more. 0.025. I think the final resolution will be 0.001. So we're getting close to it now. It's taking a bit of time, but now we're seeing enough of the details there. Yeah, let's push the maybe I'll dilate these a bit more. 2 and 2 here also. You can have different values between these, you know, we'll stretch the that kind of edge bump out in different ways. Smooth it off, there we go. So we're seeing something a bit nicer now. Now the smaller the voxel size, yeah, that will affect this as well. You'll have more detail, but it will affect how much of a bump. So now it's quite pronounced, but it'll be much less pronounced later on. Maybe if I smooth it a bit more. Well, there we go. That's quite nice. Okay, so that's our first layer. Next we'll add our smaller points on top.